Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Brian.
I'm Austin.
And you are watching Here's Hope in Garage. Now today we're going to do a governor delete on our Coleman BT200X. As you guys seen in the past in our other videos, we actually did a performance upgrade on this bike. We got a torque converter kit, a 30 series torque converter, and an exhaust. So today we are going to do a governor delete. So you see the bike in the background. We're going to do step by step on how to do a governor delete. Usually when you do these, you kind of want to change the flywheel. We're not going to do that because a couple sites say you don't have to. That some guys have done this with the Coleman bikes and the flywheel has stayed together with no issues. So we're going to do the same thing on this bike. So stay around. We're going to definitely do a delete on this one. And after we do the delete on the governor, we're actually going to do a top speed run. So from our last episode, it come 27 miles an hour stock out of the box. We put the 30 series torque converter on it. We got 33 miles an hour out of it. And now we're going to take the governor out of it and see what we can get out of it next. So stick around, guys. This should be definitely an interesting episode.
Alright guys, so first thing we're going to do is take out the oil. But as I'm taking out the oil, you guys should check out this sick hydro dip we did on the first ever episode of Here's Hope in Garage. It actually turned out pretty well. I really like it. And now we're going to take out the oil. So I already loosened up it. It's a 10mm bolt. We're going to take the bolt out and the oil should start spilling out. There you go.
Alright guys, our next step is to get the 4 engine bolts loose from the frame. Once I get the 4 engine bolts loose, I'm going to slide it back. This way I can get the master link out of the chain itself, get the chain off. Once I start working on that, then I'm going to try to get this whole torque converter system off the side of the engine. Once we get that off, we'll jump on the other side, do some other stuff. But for right now, I'm going to start getting these 4 bolts loose. Alright, next is take the master link out. I already got the clip off of it. So I'm going to slide that out. Get that off. Alright, just set that aside. Keep your clip and everything all together in one spot. And next step is to take the driver pulley off. Just make sure you keep everything together with that too. Get that off. Keep them together. Make sure you get your brass ring. Get the belt. Now we got all of that off. All your spacers. Okay, I'm gonna let the sleeve on there actually, so that shouldn't give me any problems. Actually, once I keep going here, take this off. Take that off, put down the workbench, and that completes taking off the torque converter for this side.
Alright guys, so now we're going to take off the airbox. It is 2 10mm bolts. So and the airbox should slide right off. There you go. Alright guys, so now we're going to take off the gas tank, take off the line for the carburetor, and then take off the 3 bolts. Alright guys, so now we're going to take off the fan shroud. There's 4 8mm bolts. Make sure you take off the throttle cable too, because we don't want to ruin that. So let's get started. Alright guys, so we took off the fan shroud. Now we're going to take out the spark plug. Make sure your engine is top dead center so there's no tension on the camshaft when you take off the side plate.
Alright, so what we're going to do now is spin the engine around. What you want to do is kind of put your finger, or if you have a flashlight, this way you can spin the engine around. Make sure that the piston is on top dead center. Once it's on top dead center, all the relief should be off any of the valves and the camshaft itself. This way when we take the side cover off, there's no tension on the camshaft itself. This way, when we pull the side cover, it shouldn't have any issues. So the best way to do this is definitely get a flashlight, look down in there, and when the piston's all the way to the top, there shouldn't be any pressure on the valve train at all.
Alright guys, so now we're going to take off the rear cover cup and the fan. So,
3/4 inch socket.
3/4 inch socket. There you go. So now we can get to this, and we're going to introduce this and then how you get it off.
Alright guys, the next step is to get the flywheel off. The best way to get the flywheel off is put the nut back on, get some kind of crowbar or a pry bar underneath, behind the shaft, get some pressure on it, make sure your nut's on there this way you don't mess up the shaft, and give it a whack and it should come loose. Just like that. Take the nut back off. There's also a key in here too. Make sure you don't drop that key. Alright, actually the key is still in there and we'll let it there. So that's the quick and easiest way to get the flywheel off.
Alright guys, so now we're going to take off the engine side cover.
How many bolts is it?
Six 10mm bolts.
Alright, now we have all the bolts out. We're going to take the side cover off. Usually when you want to take the side cover off, you want to have your engine to a tilt backwards, back the way that the flywheel is. That's when you pull the cover off. The camshaft will stay where it's supposed to be. We're not going to do that right now, so we're going to hope the camshaft stays exactly where it wants to be. If not, I can show you how to put it back into place. But the camshaft actually kind of holds into it like a little boss on this side of the cover itself. So we're going to kind of take this off. It's already loose. It's going to be careful. Take our time. Okay. Now that we have the side cover off, camshaft is staying where it needs to be, and the governor's way back in there. We'll give you a quick close-up look about where the governor's at. So stick around. Alright guys, the next step to get the governor arm off is it's actually a little too long to push it through by itself. So you actually have to cut some of the top off of the governor arm. So you use an angle grinder or a small Dremel tool, whatever you want to guys use to at least cut the most top of the part of the governor arm off. Once you get that cover arm off, or top off, you should be able to pull the cotter pin out and slide this down through. So I'm going to start cutting this off a while. always make sure you got safety glasses on. Alright, so now you got the top cut off. Pull the cotter pin out. It should slide down through. This way you can get it out. Alright guys, once you got the top of the governor arm cut off, you should be able to pull it down through the engine itself. So you just grab a pair of needle nose, pull it down through, and there you go. Comes out just like that, real easy, once you get the top cut off. And once you get the top cut off, you kind of rotate the engine around, and if you look in there you can see the governor gear. And what we're going to do on the back side of the governor gear is a pin. We're going to knock that pin out and the whole governor gear should come right out. So that's our next step, knock that pin out. Alright, the next step to getting this governor gear out is actually, if you can see right there is a pin that holds the governor gear in. So you want to do is grab a punch and a hammer and punch this pin out, and once you do that, the governor gear should come out of the other side. Just like that. So what I'm going to do is get the camera and show you the other side. Hold on guys. So, get you right there. As you can see, once you knock that pin out, your governor gear comes loose just like that. And right there it is. So, on the back side of that governor gear is a washer. Make sure you grab that washer and get that out too. Actually, it fell down. Oh, there it is. Right there's the washer. So, easy as that. Knocking the governor gear out is easy. It's using a punch and punching it out. Once you get that punched out, I will show you the next steps on sealing those two holes up. Alright, so the next step into sealing up the governor pin where it came through the block is to get a quarter 20 bolt and just run it right in there. You don't even have to tap it. It fits almost exactly perfect. Well, it is perfect actually. So, okay, so that's how you seal up the governor pin. And actually, use the same bolt, quarter 20 bolt, and it goes into the top where the governor arm came through too. So those are the best ways to seal these two holes up. So, just like that, your governor pin sealed up, governor arm hole sealed up perfectly. Shouldn't leak at all.
Alright guys, so now that we sealed up the governor holes, we're going to put the cover back on because we're done with the inside of the engine. So the cover gasket is still good. Nothing's wrong with it or anything. So now we're going to put the cover back on. Alright guys, so now that we have the governor pin sealed, we're going to put the flywheel back on.
Alright guys, now we got the flywheel back reinstalled and the cup back on. What we're going to do now is we're going to take some of this linkage out of the way. We're going to have to rework some of this linkage later to make this work. And I'll show you how we're going to do that in the next couple of steps. But for right now, take your springs off, take your linkage off, your governor arm off. That way that's out of the way. Save this because you're going to need it for the next couple steps. And I'll show you how we're going to do that here in a little bit. So once we get that off and out of the way, we can go ahead and reinstall the fan shroud, so we'll do that next. Alright, let's put this back on. This is a pretty easy step. I won't bore you with this too much. We're just going to get this back on a while so that way it's out of the way. Alright guys, here we're just going to get a little bit technical and we got to do a little bit of fabrication. We have to reuse this throttle linkage arm that was originally on here, because we're going to attach it to our linkage up top here, because now we have our governor arm that used to carry everything. It's not there no more, so now we got to kind of improvise. So what you want to do is make sure your throttle is definitely closed, the closed position for idling. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get a Sharpie. I'm going to put a mark there where I need to make a 90-degree bend. We're going to bend it straight up and it's going to go into a hole right on top of here. So that's my next step, is to take this off, get a 90 bend onto it, that way it goes up into the linkage. Alright, now I got the throttle linkage all bent up the way I need it. I got it into the carburetor and I got it to the top throttle plate. That way when you give it gas, it's good to go. Now what we're going to do is we're going to reuse this old spring to help return it. There's actually a hole on top of the carburetor here. I'm going to put the spring in here. I'm going to take it and I'm going to use one of the fan shroud bolts to put this end of the spring on to help pull it back. So I'm going to do that next. Alright guys, there's a lot of trial and error here on getting this linkage kind of set up the way I wanted it. I got it bent, which you can see I got it bent in there. I did use one of the springs that came with it, but I also reattached the governor arm to the bolt that I used to close up where the the governor arm went through the engine. I did use some thread sealer on here, so it shouldn't leak any oil. This seems to work out pretty good the way I have it set up. Got it bent, got the spring on there. I got the spring actually wrapped kind of around the rod here to keep the rod in the carburetor. And it seems to be working pretty good. I don't think we're going to have any issues with that. I'm getting full throttle and it's returning to idle. So that's how I have it set up to do. I think it's going to work out just perfect the way I have this set up. If I'm doing it wrong, let me know in the comments. If there's an easier or better way, let me know in the comments. This is my first time going through this. But I think this is going to work out perfect, so we're going to keep reassembling the rest of this engine. Alright guys, well that concludes our video of the governor delete for the Coleman Mini Bike behind me. I hope you liked our video. It was kind of our first time doing it, but it didn't turn out too bad. The linkage worked. You know, some people don't really want you to do this because of the flywheel could actually come apart. So some people say you can, some people say you can't. My best advice is if you're really going to do this for long term, definitely get like a different kit that has the connecting rod, the flywheel, the billet flywheel, and other stuff. That way it doesn't come apart on you. But we're just going to give it a chance and see how it works. Other than that, I hope you liked the video. If I did anything wrong, let me know in the comments. If I did anything right, let me know in the comments. And thanks for sticking around and watching us take care of this tonight.
Alright guys, so thank you for watching this video. Not only subscribe, but we just released a Instagram account today. The first photo is us working on the mini bike, getting it all ready for our top speed run tomorrow. Our highest mile per hour on this mini bike was 33. Let's see if we can get more miles an hour out of this thing. Latest video up here, go watch that. Channel down here, make sure you watch all of our videos, keep updated with us, and then Instagram over here. And you guys are watching Here's Hope in Garage.